Welcome everyone to tonight's Smackdown watch party featuring myself, Tom Colohue. Tonight is the return of Roman Reigns. We also have plenty of Randy Orton content to look forward to. Plus, apparently, AJ Styles in the building and a few names from NXT who may be getting a call up to join Santos Escobar. So plenty to be diving into. Hopefully it's going to be a good show. You know there's going to be something for LA Knight. You know there's going to be something big for Randy Orton, and there'll be plenty in between to keep people like Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits busy. So, Smackdown, hopefully a good one. Sean says hello again, Tom. Welcome, Sean. Nice to see you. We have a few people. I've asked the question, who do we think is opening? By and large, on the YouTube side, it is Roman that's getting the love. Welcome, everyone. We see CM, we see Joe, we see Bismo, Blue, Sean, Gomar, Leon and James so far. Welcome everyone. Nice to see so many of you and so many likes already. Bismo says, I'm exhausted mentally when dealing with dementia. Family members take a toll. Yeah, I'm aware of that one, unfortunately. Blue says, when Mercedes left, my prediction was that she'd be back by Mania 40. I feel closer than ever with that prediction. The prediction that Roman will open the show seems to be pretty fitting, considering he does like to open and close the show. He's going to be getting all of the attention tonight. Everything will be Bloodline, which is funny because, hilariously, we've had weeks of very little focus on Bloodline, but Daddy's home. And here he comes. James says, I think fans are getting bored of Cody and Jay is taking his spotlight. I don't think it's just Jay. I think it might be CM Punk as well. But by and large, Cody's still getting plenty of positive reactions, so we'll see how it goes. Brad says hello as well. Welcome, Brad. And Mustafa says, hurry up and like. People chat rate too. They know what they're doing, mate. They know what they're doing. I don't push so hard when it comes to the watch parties. I'm just glad to see y'all. Blue says, Tom, if you could book the 4 Mania World title matches, what would they be? So I already have booked the 4 Mania title matches on 2 occasions. I advise you to check out this week's PLE Wednesdays, where I give you 10 WrestleMania matches that we need to see. Both of the men's and women's top titles are covered there. By all means, open that, put this particular video on a low volume, and see how it goes. We're not seeing a strong Bloodline. Roman and Heyman still very firmly in play, but Jimmy and Solo don't quite compare to Jimmy, Jay, Solo and Sammy. Jimmy's slightly out of sync, pointing at the sky. Always awkward. Cheers, Blue. Appreciate you. So as you might expect, we're going to take a while for Roman to get to the ring. I'd imagine we're going to get a recap as to the world of Randy Orton here. But you'll note he already has a jacket celebrating more than 1,000 days. Jimmy Uso's already been announced for a wrestling match tonight. I'd imagine that will be our main event, so that we have the Bloodline bookend. I just always feel like the phrase Bloodline bookend is perfect. Bayley says, hello Tom, what was the total number of viewers? To spoiler warning, it was busy in there. I think we peaked at 122. Peaked at 122. In total we finished at just under 500 views, which is always a nice spot. It was pretty busy. And I was pretty happy, what can I say? We are indeed getting a recap of last week. LA Knight ensuring that Solo Sikoa could not get too involved. Bit of Bloodline carnage. LA Knight will undoubtedly get a Roman Reigns and Randy Orton rub once again tonight. Joe says, I'm actually looking forward to this Royal Rumble because since I've been waiting for this year's, I've just been watching DVDs of the Rumble. The Royal Rumble never disappoints, to be fair, apart from that year when Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar won. Gomar says Jimmy's character right now is Bro thinks he's part of the team. It's funny. Jimmy Uso's character right now is James Ellsworth. Don't like it, but it is what it is. James says, what's the first thing Roman talk about is Punk. We'll see. I'm sure Punk will be mentioned, but Roman is still bigger than Punk. Sean says apparently Coca-Cola have recalled Diet Coke, Fanta and Sprite in 3 states in America because they got tested for possible foreign material. Thankfully, we here in the UK are much more strenuous with our testing. So I'm just going to drink this here cherry Coke. Michael Cole pausing there to allow the pyro to kick off. I always respect that. First 5 minutes of the show has very much just been celebration of Roman's return. Bismo says, for a brief moment, I forgot CM Punk signed with Raw. I thought, I wonder if CM Punk interrupts Roman tonight. Not impossible. Just because he's signed for Raw doesn't mean he's not going to be popping up. I do expect we'll see him on NXT a few more times. I did previously mention, of course, that he would be making NXT appearances. That has already been proven true. So what does Roman want to talk about? We've seen a lot of Cody Rhodes recently. And certainly I think he'll be in the back of Roman's mind. Dom says, don't forget the like button. I have one word for you in 2 letters. Yeet KO. Well, okay. Welcome, Dom. How you doing, mate? Never fail to bring a smile to my face when you do that, I tell you. I don't know how to use the yeet. Roman with the immediate cheap pop. You mentioned someone's town. They cheer. That's in the blood. Hello, Megan. Been a little while. Nice to see you. Always feels like forever between these shows, especially when you have a week off. You know? I was off on Friday to do Christmas shopping in Manchester. Got most of it done, thankfully. And now I'm back and it's 1 a.m. and I'm just ready for Smackdown. But this one's going to have ads in it, and I'm not looking forward to that. Roman ready to talk to his people. He's still the one. Kept the booze down is a phrase that works in a few ways. Brad says Royal Rumble 95 was pretty bad because of the fact it was only 60 seconds between entries. To be fair, I think this is probably before they started kayfabing the entry times. They'll tell you it's 2 minutes. It never is. It's when the segment's over. Megan says, week it felt even longer this week. Lovely food poisoning. But on the good side, I'm building my Discord and I have a new emote for the holidays. Yay! I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of you in our Discord. I'm excited. You're part of the team, as far as I'm concerned, Megan. There's a reason you're a mod on both sides. We care about you. We care about what you think. We care about what you bring. Randy Orton getting the what chance. Always nice to hear. Jimmy seems to think it's him. I'd imagine it's Solo. I'd imagine Roman's about to celebrate Solo beating John Cena. Discord's a good thing, Megan. I think once you get to the grips of it, you'll see the benefits of it. Chance of Randy distracting Roman. He will, of course, allow that to build. It's always clever. John Cena always used to do this as well. The second anyone interrupts, let them. Joe says, I remember my 2 favourite Rumble 2000 because The Rock, who won in 2000, and John Cena in 2013 was my favourite. The next Tribal Chief, Jimmy again celebrating too much. Solo has just been coronated the next Tribal Chief by Roman Reigns. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago in spoiler warning, a big push is coming for Solo, and the win over Cena was just what got it started. Solo Sikoa will be the next Tribal Chief. I mentioned that a while back. Sean said, since Gunther added the stipulation if Miz loses he can no longer challenge for the championship as long as Gunther is champion, do you think Miz wins as it's his last chance? No, I still don't. I think The Miz is winding down. Blue says, a question for Tom and the entire chat. Do you think this week's SmackDown with Roman will have a higher rating than Punk's return last week? Personally, I do, because people will tune in expecting to see CM Punk again. So, a couple of things. Sean says no new theme for Randy. Whoever reported that was wrong. I believe Ringside News and Fightful both reported that there is a new theme being considered and worked on. Didn't necessarily report that it was going to happen this week. Gomar says, why is Jimmy upset? He literally called out Roman the Smackdown after SummerSlam. Because it's Jimmy Uso. The man's delusional. He's James Ellsworth. Like, I don't like the comparison. That doesn't change the fact that it's an accurate comparison. Jimmy's delusional. He's got a bit of Dominic Mysterio in him, or I think Dominic Mysterio's got a bit of Jimmy Uso in him, but all I see is James Ellsworth, which is not something I expected. Also not something I trust. We've gone straight to a commercial break when Randy's walking out. Pretty standard tactic to keep views. You've got Roman, you've got Randy in the ring, you know something's about to go down, and so you tune off at that point. Now, right now, they know they've got something really big on the horizon. They're trying to get themselves that Warner Brothers Discovery deal, but they're also trying to entice Fox back. That's why we've had CM Punk appear. That's why they're going to be using Randy and Roman on SmackDown to try and really get that rating popping, because they still want Fox to get involved. Now, it's too late for SmackDown. It's not too late for Raw. So they're going to be doing a lot of tactics to try and keep viewership as long and as high as they possibly can. Keep an eye out for them, because we will be highlighting them as is only right. Randy Orton is heading down to the ring to join Roman Reigns. I'd imagine this is a fairly standard promo off. Also seems the ideal time for maybe an attempted beatdown of Randy, which LA Knight can save him from, and maybe even AJ Styles can save him from as well. Earlier on we did discuss the possibility of a six-man tag match. The three members of the Bloodline that wrestle against Styles, against Knight, and against Randy Orton. So it's AJLARJ. Nope, let me do this. I got this. LAAJRKO. Nailed it. RKLAAJO? I don't know. Either way, Randall Keith. Blue says, any theme change that really bothered you, Tom? Changes to Shayna's and Johnny Gargano's really let me down. Losing Rebel Heart really hurt Johnny Gargano. But honestly, I loved Shayna Baszler's theme. It was a bop. It was the fact that it was just so firm. I'm into that. And then it was gone. Sean says, since I'm on Christmas break from my job, I'm able to be here for the watch party. Lovely, Sean. Christmas break, 10 days early. Well done. Megan says, you want to talk bad theme changes? Ricochet. Ricochet is definitely fair. I'm glad they never changed Aleister Black's, but I suspect they fired him before they could. Sean says, Johnny Gargano and Ricochet theme changes bothered me the most. I'm not in love with Steph's theme change. I know that by and large now it's been universally brought back into the fold, as it were, but I liked his theme. I would bop out to that one as well. Why are they going to kill off the bops? That said, Roman's is a clear improvement. Asuka's, didn't really enjoy that change. I didn't enjoy Sasha Banks' change either. Speaking of Sasha Banks, if you've not checked out Spoiler Warning, you might want to if you're a Sasha Banks fan. Mercedes Money fans might want to hide their eyes. Daniel Berry is here. Welcome, Daniel, saying, hey, welcome to the show, mate. Randy Orton took an entire commercial break of 5 minutes to get into the ring. Awkward. Blue says, I agree, Tom. It really added to the Shayna's badass persona. It did. It did. The whole Queen of Spades thing was wonderful. Tom says, I didn't like it when they switched Keith Lee's. Yeah, all anyone could talk about when Keith Lee debuted in the main roster is, he don't usually look like that. Doesn't usually sound like that. Awkward. Sean says, if Moxley had stayed with WWE, he probably would have got a theme changed. He did. He had the air siren added, didn't he? Not quite a full change, but still annoying enough. Randy Orton in his quiet mode. Dirty bastard. Randy Orton, for those who don't know, once hid a diamond ring in his buttocks. Just going to point that out. That's going to be a fun fact I'm going to post on a video one day. Probably on a Friday. Imagine a fun fact Friday. Once hid a wedding ring in his buttocks. Genuinely. Randy Orton celebrating the challenge. A challenge which Nick Aldis made happen. Roman, of course, had no say in it and may look for a little revenge tonight. Big pop for Randy. Absence does make the heart grow fonder, but in Randy Orton's case, the love never really went away. He is the last surviving member of the class of 2002. And my God, he's back. Blue says, I agree on Seth. It's fun to sing along to, but I'd rather listen to his old theme. I agree. We're definitely back in the age of Triple H's 20-minute opening promos, aren't we? And the half-hour blocks. That is exactly how he proposed, Brad. That is exactly how he proposed. Down on one knee, and then he reached into his arse crack. What a story. Sean says, really surprised Bianca and KO have kept theirs. Another theme change I didn't like was Sami Zayn and Bayley. Bayley's wouldn't have worked for what she was. Good attack there from Roman. Roman very clearly unhappy, knowing that Randy is a challenger. I suspect there might be some competition here. Leon says, remember when Keith Lee beat Randy on clean? Feels like it never happened. It does feel like it never happened. I just want to point out, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa will both have victories over Randy Orton before 2024 is out. It's not a prediction, guys. That's a spoiler. Randy Orton has wanted to work with Tommaso Ciampa for quite some time. Roman not ashamed to say what we're all thinking. He is levels above. A little more hectic than a standard Roman Reigns promo here. Strong promo, intense, plays on a lot of real life stuff. Still technically around blue, yes, but nowhere near full time. Also, let's be fair, he did have a pretty big break in there, whereas Randy Orton has only had breaks for injuries. Dom's loving the promo. James says, since Brock returned to WWE, only 9 people have beat him. Very few people have actually wrestled him. Oh, you can't. The crowd heard that use of legend. They know what he's doing there. Always and forever is always a good line. The fans know what's coming. I do respect that. As part of being a good promo, you've got to be predictable while also being unpredictable. You've got to hit your catchphrases while also occasionally hitting a low blow. Oh, he went for the RKO. Roman was ready for him, but he went for it. Solo now stepping up. All 3 of them shaken. Randy Orton going full on weird here. You'll know the Solo is still standing between Roman and Randy. Roman making a point of wiping his butt while Randy said that. Well played. Randy Orton not really known for his promos, but this is good stuff. Anything that ends with a daddy's back, I'm a happy boy. There's not enough daddy's back in the world, you know? And to be blunt, I know a lot of people who would happily call Randy Orton daddy. I might be one of them. Tom says, great counter for Orton in the promo. Randy Orton definitely the winner in the opening promo here. But there'll be more Roman to come and some revenge to be had as the show goes on. And I still believe we're going to see a new version of the Legacy. Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and someone. I'm going Jay, personally. Tonight, in the main event, Randy Orton will take on Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso will not be picking up the win, but it may turn into a six-man tag. I suspect it will be a big brawl at the end, and next week we'll get a six-man tag. Of course, United States Championship Tournament. Kevin Owens takes on Austin Theory, and honestly, I kind of think KO's losing this one. Because that would mean Austin Theory next to take on Carmelo Hayes. Because Grayson Waller, sorry mate, you're doomed. And I mean doomed. Sean says, if you had to guess who wins the US title tournament, honestly, I'm going Carmelo. My initial thought was Kevin Owens, that seemed the obvious choice. But imagine a match between Carmelo Hayes and Logan Paul. That would just be amazing. James says, I don't want Randy versus Roman because we know Randy's going to lose. Anyone versus Roman, you can be pretty confident they're going to lose. Megan says, good exchange. Would it be nice without the ad break? I'll say 7.5. Are we rating promos? Because I'm more than happy to do so. What did people think for the promo that we have just seen? How do you want to rate it out of 10? Do you want to rate it high? Do you want to rate it low? Do you want to rate it somewhere comfortably in the middle? I liked it. I'm giving it an 8. I'd watch it again and I'd enjoy it again. Blue says, trying to guess the 9. Seth, Roman, Drew, Taker, Cena, Triple H, Goldberg, Bobby, and Cody. Did Bobby beat him? James confirms that's absolutely correct. Nice work, Blue. Brad says, Tom needs that Daddy's Back shirt. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. Gomar says, if it isn't Kevin, I think Carmelo wins. I do think Kevin Owens would have had the opportunity if not for the injury. I think Carmelo Hayes is being used in this particular manner for that reason. And in fact, that's going to be our opening match as we get close to the first half hour over. Grayson Waller against Carmelo Hayes for a spot in the semi-finals of the United States Championship Tournament. I love a tournament. I think Triple H does a great job with them, and I can't wait for this. Blue says they're taping 2 Smackdowns tonight, so the 6-man being next week is a good shout. It would bring like the whole 2 together nicely. Leon says that would be epic. Gives the promo a 9. Bayley gives the promo a 7. Brad an 8.2. Dom a 7. And Jack a 7 as well. James says Carmelo is in the middle of a storyline, so he can't be on the main roster yet, unfortunately. No, I agree with that. And I do think a match in which he would inevitably lose to Logan Paul and then go back down to NXT would do great things for NXT. Yes, Joe, I've seen pictures of John Cena at the movie premiere. I believe it's Iron Claw. Thank you, Blue. Saying Bobby beat Brock at the Rumble in 2022. Roman's he also beat him at EC this year and Brock got DQ'd. Thank you. Appreciate that clarification. I definitely forgot about that. Gomar says they said this is a match for the title, but is it going to be a SmackDown match or is it going to be at the Rumble? They have not confirmed and they're not planning to just yet. It might be at the Rumble. It also might be knocked off the card. I suspect it will be at the Rumble because, well, as much as I love Logan Paul in a Rumble, if he's already a champion, it's probably not the right move. For those not aware, I'm considering, for this upcoming week's PLE Wednesday, doing a full booking of the Men's Royal Rumble match. Start to finish, every single entrant. Let me know if you'd be interested in it, especially when I say that the first entries will be someone whose time is now, but he don't want none. James says Gunter was champion the Rumble. He was, and I don't necessarily think they'll want Logan Paul doing that. Logan Paul might also want to leave early again. Blue says, what do you think about the new Day 1 Raw edition? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Blue. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, Brad likes the idea. Good to know. Ultimately, PLE Wednesdays gives me a lot of opportunity to just go nuts for the Royal Rumble. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm very excited for it. Very excited. We currently have 21 people watching and 13 likes. If you've not yet done so, 2 more likes will get me to 15. If you can, I'd be very appreciative. We're in our second commercial break. It looks like we're going to be allowed a Carmelo Hayes pop, which I'm down for. Gotcha. Okay, thank you guys. Megan says day one's going to be a special edition of Raw, not a PV PLE. Blue says they are branding the Raw on the 1st of Jan, day one, like the PLE. So, this here is my list, which I made literally on a piece of paper. PLE Wednesdays. Everything up until WrestleMania. Where is it? December 20th. So my plan for this week, before considering the Rumble, which has actually moved slightly further, PLE Day 1 reset. So on the 20th, this upcoming Wednesday, I was going to be talking Day 1. And in fact, I can show you that. I can show you that. December 20th. PLE Day 1 reset. I think it's a good idea. I think the fact that TV nowadays is worth more than pay-per-views makes sense. And they are limiting the... One sec, I need to... That was a lot. They are limiting the amount of pay-per-views for a reason, because ultimately they want all their pay-per-views eventually to be either international or WrestleMania. It's a long-term plan. It's not a bad plan. Half hour into the show, Carmelo Hayes making his entrance for the United States Championship Tournament. Not a strong reaction from the main roster. Do I? Blue says you have fantastic handwriting. Do I? I really don't think I do. I really don't think I do. Sean said this is the second time Carmelo Hayes has competed on the main roster. He lost to Finn Balor on an episode of Raw when he was NXT champion. I do not recall that. Logan Paul cutting promos on Carmelo Hayes already should give you an inclination of who's going to win this match. Brad said, bless you, Tom. Appreciate you, Brad. Bless you as well. Bayley says, NXT talent suffers upon arrival because the main roster audience seem unaware of them. This is one of the main reasons that under Triple H, main roster call-ups tend to come in losing. I don't see that for Carmelo Hayes here, but the general rule is you come in losing. I don't necessarily think Grayson Waller is the ideal opponent. I don't necessarily think Kevin Owens or Austin Theory are the right opponents here, but I'm confident Carmelo Hayes versus Santos Escobar is where we are headed. Carmelo Hayes versus Santos Escobar. I also wouldn't hate Carmelo Hayes versus Bobby Lashley, but, you know, I definitely think Carmelo Hayes is the one going through. Gotcha, Blue. Well, I am 35. I'm experienced with my handwriting. I spend a lot of time writing. That's what I am. I'm a writer. I got my first professional writing job at 19 and literally achieved my lifelong dream. Which was nice. Very nice, in fact. And then I kept doing it. I was going to say we're starting slowly, but Carmelo Hayes doesn't know how to do that. A couple of good dodges from Carmelo Hayes. Lukewarm reception, but a reception nonetheless. I'm curious to see how long they can actually go here. After all, the actual wrestling content of the show only gets about 90 minutes. And they need other matches to go, plus more commercial breaks. I can't imagine this goes more than 10 minutes, to be honest, because we need to start heading towards the draw segment. Dom says Carmelo lost against Finn on Raw during Finn and Seth's feud. Gotcha. Finn and Seth know their plans. They do a lot. Interesting. Thank you for letting me know there, Joey and Megan. Joey says, I just saw on Twitter Liv Morgan was arrested. Megan goes into more detail. Not sure if you saw this, but Liv Morgan was arrested at a traffic stop. Charges of possession of synthetic cannabinoid, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug equipment. It really does depend what state she was in for that traffic stop. After all, that sort of thing's perfectly legal in a lot of places. Thank you for sourcing, Joey. Appreciate that. James says, I wonder if Bron Breakker is expecting a call-up in the Rumble. I would hope so. It's in Florida. Isn't that legal in Florida? Like, I don't know the law because I don't live there. It's illegal in Florida. Huh. Of all the states, you'd think Florida... Ron DeSantis. Right, okay. Scratch that. Of course it is. Ron DeSantis is governor. Wow. That's a thing, isn't it? Wow. No, I appreciate that, Joey. Appreciate it. I know that I'm hosting a watch party here, but I think that might be something that we need to get out there. Megan, would you be able to send me a link, please? Or just tag me in it somewhere. It should pop up. I'll try and find it now. There it is. Immediately. There's a mugshot. That's a problem. So no link needed anymore. A good time to use the community's post. In Florida, yes. Arrested for possession of marijuana not more than 20 grams. Possibly synthetic cannabinoid. The odour of marijuana was detected as the officers approached the vehicle. Found inside Morgan's vehicle was a small plastic bag containing marijuana and the vape pen that held an oil-like substance, CBD oil potentially. Substance was later tested to be marijuana. Morgan was already bonded out and was released last night at 10:04 p.m. Wow. Logically, this isn't a huge story. Already bonded out. And honestly, by the sounds of it, it wasn't a huge amount. It does depend on your individual stance on this. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate you. It does depend on your official stance. Personally, it's not something that I have done in my life and not something I intend to do. Primarily because I don't smoke and don't really plan to in any way, shape or form. Megan says the article places her in an area between Tampa and Orlando called the Villages. Bayley says Florida is not representative of the US, which is fair, having been there. Patrick says, hi Tom, quick question, Mercedes Mone and Donna Purrazzo are pretty much WWE bound. I covered this at length in spoiler warning in the first 5 minutes, Patrick. Go and check it out. Blue says, since Florida's gone red, it's been getting worse and worse. Fair. WWE do, Joey, but of course Liv Morgan is injured. Megan says, would also depend on prior record, which is fair. James says, I thought Riddle got suspended because of it. Nope, Riddle never got suspended for it. Riddle was using it the entire time. A current WWE superstar was recently arrested for possession of... I don't really want to say drug possession because that seems extreme. Recently arrested in Florida. Peter Insider are reporting that former SEOing it, former WWE Smackdown Women's Champion Liv Morgan was recently arrested in Florida for possession of, and I'm going to exactly quote here just to make sure to cover the bases, for possession of blah blah blah. Honestly, this is more of the job than you'd think. She has already been bonded and released at time of this post. Add the image. And post. So for those that aren't already aware, I am currently using the YouTube community page in the same way that I would use a social media platform such as, for example, Twitter. So far, so good, and I feel that we're getting good results from it. Let me know if you're seeing what I'm doing and if it's something that you want to see more of. What I will say, as regards how I'm trying to use a page, I'm trying to type things in a way whereby you get a somewhat clickbaity headline, and then I have to drop it down a little bit because then you have to click read more. That way actual spoilers don't come out. So you can look at it and be like, 2 WWE superstars are called up to Smackdown tonight. Do I want to know who it is? Click read more. There it is. That makes more sense to me. So that's my intention. Let me know if this is something that you either agree or disagree with. I used to do it as shorts, but the lifespan of a short kind of works against me for that. Joey says Riddle's case was far worse, which it was. Bayley said bad publicity probably means she's moving down the card, sitting in catering with Nikki Cross for a while. I find that unlikely. WWE won't actually care too much about this. I doubt there'll be much of a reaction, but Liv Morgan, of course, is injured, so we wouldn't be seeing her for a while anyway. Blue says WWE, like most sports leagues, no longer test for weed, which is why Randy talked about it so openly and they marketed on television. Yes, Randy Orton is a pretty prolific user. He's very open about that. It's what he misses most about Matt Riddle. Blue says, I like the inclusion of former SmackDown Women's Champion. She is. And that's just good old-fashioned SEO. I don't think it really matters because that's not why these things pop up. But yeah, if you guys use the community pages, let me know, because it's one of those where hopefully long-term you guys will be able to reply and engage and chat and stuff, and that really helps the channel grow. Megan says, did a quick look. In Florida, possession of up to 20 grams is a misdemeanor offence, punishable by up to a year in jail, fines of up to $1,000, and suspension of the individual's driving licence. Wow. Blue says, I think you're right. James, question is, what was the drug? We know Riddle goes harder than weed. Joe says, I like the idea, Tom. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Megan says, CBD is allowed on certain medical grounds. I think it's very, very possible that she is taking it because of her injury. It's just a case of whether it's been diagnosed in what state. No, Joey, that wasn't RVD. That he was fired for other things. Tahir, welcome. New name. Good to see you. There's a number of different reasons. Primarily, nobody tried to arrest him. That's kind of it. Dom says, hell of a move by Waller. He shocks me every time. Grayson Waller is definitely showing off recently. Carmelo Hayes looks like he might be wrapping this one up, though. Sean, the shorts are not 100% stopped. It's just about finding time for them. I used to be able to find a little slot within my day job. I'm not finding that slot anymore just because I'm very busy. So the fact that I'm really busy in my day job means I'm not able to also do this job during that time. So that's why. Hopefully it's something that I'll be able to fix in the future, but we'll see how it goes. Megan says CBD is allowed if you have cancer, epilepsy, and amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Could be interesting. Blue says, I usually check the community page if you miss a show, just in case you left a note. And Dom says, Mello won. I just don't think the character will get over, but he is a good athlete. He got a pretty decent reception from the crowd for the win, certainly more than he got when he made his entrance. I reckon a tournament is a great way to get someone over, at least in the intro. I don't feel like we're going to get Carmelo Hayes versus Kevin Owens, though, so that should tell you everything. Joey says, Liv Morgan bad be coming out to Dom's WrestleMania entrance. I mean, why not? Why not? There's also a number of other things to consider. let's not forget that police in America are a private company and can basically do whatever they want. Legally, they're allowed to lie if they want. Not in every state, to be clear, but legally they are. LA Knight has run into Randy Orton backstage. And they're talking numbers, which is confusing to me. Martin, welcome to SciMate. Just wanted to say, smash that like and show some support away in York as a late birthday present. A little bit of York Xmas market, etc. Hope you're having a great time, mate. I, after all, did much the same myself. Also, I'd imagine you're watching your Club World Cup. Best of luck to it, and I hope all your players come back knackered. Respectfully. LA Knight popping the crowd in a backstage segment with Randy Orton. Imagine out-charismaing Randy Orton. It's genuinely not that hard. Randy Orton is not... Charisma is not necessarily his strongest suit, and he's okay with that. Kevin Owens making his entrance. It looks like we're going to have back-to-back US Championship Tournament matches. Given his wrist and given that we just had Grayson Waller, I'd imagine this is Austin Theory's to lose. Tahir says, Randy Orton really looks good. Actually looks in better shape than Roman. Tahir, can you do me a favour and just let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right? I'm saying Tahir. If that's incorrect, please do let me know, because I do want to make sure I get it right. We currently have 28 people watching, 258 views already, 15 likes. 5 more gets us to 20. If you've not yet done so, please do consider hitting that thumbs up. It's just shot up to 32 people, so please do give the show some love. What did we make? I know we were a bit distracted with what was going on with Liv Morgan there. What did we make of the match between Carmelo Hayes and Grayson Waller? I gotta be honest, I didn't catch too much of it. What I did see was some good athleticism, some good speed, and some good pace. I'm going to give it a 7 based on what I did see and write off what I didn't see. So a 7. Can you rank the first match out of 10 and let me know? Joey says, did you watch NXT Deadline? I did not. I was out of town for Christmas shopping and I came back quite late on Monday, so I didn't have time, unfortunately, when you factor in that I also needed to watch Smackdown and anything over the weekend as well. Also, my children. Dom says, just asking, is Dragon Lee's finish similar to the Ultimo Dragon from WCW, if anyone can remember? Pardon me. To be honest, I cannot. I cannot remember. No, I get you, Martin. We were in the same position a while back, and yeah, it's weird. Thank you, Tia. Appreciate that. Sean says, has it been confirmed that what Charlotte's knee injury is? No, at this point it hasn't. It's apparently not looking great, but I'm still hoping it's not going to be the ACL tear, same as you. Brad gives it a 7.5, Dom a 6.7. Joey says, I like Dijak, a really good wrestler for someone at his size. It's a shame he didn't get better opportunities than he did, I'll tell you that. So Martin, spoiler warning, was primarily built around the Warner Brothers Discovery news, the rumours of AEW basically falling apart, and the details of the contract offer that's been made by WWE to Sasha Banks. And note that I say Sasha Banks, not Mercedes Mone. Gotcha to hear, thank you. Bayley says ACL tear is probably 9 months and MCL 3 to 6 months. Either way, she misses WrestleMania, and I promise you that is not something that she wants to do. WrestleMania is the number one thing for wrestlers. They all want to be as heavily involved as possible. Now, Charlotte Flair has main evented WrestleMania before, one of only 3 women to do so, and she wants to continue that legacy and get back involved again. It's a crying shame what's happened, and fingers crossed we can see her back sooner rather than later. Joey says ACL is worst case scenario, it'll take her out for a year and a half. So some disagreement as regards what the ACL would be resulting. Martin says, I commented on AW about my thoughts. I got majorly attacked. Let's put it that way. Yeah, this is one of the many, many reasons I only share my opinion in my own shows, where I can control if anyone decides to get real personal. And also, where thankfully the people here are smart. At least smart enough to know better. Bayley says, do wrestlers get a bonus for appearing in PLEs, especially WrestleMania? They did. It's not a practice that Nick Khan is particularly supportive of. So that's one of those situations where this may be changing over the course of the next few years, but they have historically received a bonus based on PLEs. WrestleMania is a big one, and it's why you got the Battle Royals and the like. Tia says, Owen's got a great push, but I just don't get it. I'm just not into him. Is it just me? I don't think it's just you. There are definitely different people for different people. Personally, though, I'm a big fan of Owens, primarily because I just love a good talker. Richard Smith has posted in the community post, said that's her WWE run over. I'm responding. She's injured at the moment, but I'm not aware that there were any major plans for her come her return. Anyway, I like to respond to things. One thing I've learned over the last few months, any social media platform, you grow fastest with replies. So that's the comment page in YouTube, that's the replies on Twitter, everything is based on engagement. And if you can get replies, then you can reply to those replies. You can get a conversation going. Before you know it, you're gone. Because people dedicate more time hovering over what you're doing. YouTube, Twitter, all of those read that as, oh, this person watched this post for 20 seconds, watched it for 2 minutes. Let's push this. It's why videos on Twitter are doing so well at the moment. Joey says it sucked when Bayley missed back-to-back Manias. It did indeed. Sean says, you believe Logan Paul's US title reign lasts a few months? I do. I think he holds it until WrestleMania. I think he beats Carmelo Hayes due to a little bit of hook and crook, as it were, and then lose it to LA Knight at WrestleMania. Though it may be that they find another way to get LA Knight involved. Joey says, I think they got bigger bonuses depending on how big the pay-per-view buys did. Some people did, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people, it was a flat rate. Only the big ones got actual draw contracts. Martin says, honestly, if I'd attacked one of their family members, I'd have got off more lightly. It's crazy, all because I didn't think TK should get Booker of the Year. Joey says, back when you still had to pay $50 for a pay-per-view. Yep, true. Brad says, you're great at responding. I try. I don't want you guys to be shouting into the ether, you know? If you take the time out to actually talk to me, I want to talk back to you. The entire platform is based on this. Like, you know? Spoiler warning success is all based on the fact that when you ask me a question, I'll answer it. I might not have anything. I might just have a sarcastic comment. But I'll answer it. You know? A lot of the time you get, everything's on the table. And that's all I can give you. But I'm still giving you something. So yeah, I keep an eye on my comments and things when it comes to my videos. It's important. Dom says, just asking, but is Nick and Tom Khan brothers? Besides you, I don't have info and I pick what I want to be my spoiler. But is Nick and Tom Khan brothers? I don't know what you mean there, Dom, gotta be honest. Martin says, Tom is multitasking. I know I do the same and zone out. I'm trying not to zone out. I think I'm a pretty good host and a pretty good presenter. I actually get compliments in my day job when I'm running meetings because of how I present things. I think I do okay. Megan says, cake or death. I'm a sucker for a lemon meringue pie. Every year on my birthday, I buy and eat a whole lemon meringue pie. Just to myself. I know it's a bit sad, but it should tell you a lot about my upbringing. We were not rich. Chris says, I can't believe Liv Morgan was arrested. Stranger things have happened, mate. Stranger things. Tia says, AEW is really feeling the pain right now. Is it true that the fans are not showing up? The ratings are down, and also, in addition to the ratings being down, attendances are way down. Losing CM Punk hurt badly. And not being able to replace him with someone like, for example, Mercedes Mone hurt more. Edge was not necessarily what people wanted. Leon says, any dream matches? Plenty. It's mostly AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, just repeated ad nauseum, though. Gotcha, Brad. Megan says, solid choice. I do that with a cinnamon roll. Every now and then, you just got to look after yourself, you know? Just got to look after yourself. So, Kevin Owens still wrestling with a seriously hurt hand. I don't necessarily see a win here, but I imagine you're going to have to focus on the hand to make that happen. Austin Theory can find a way, I'm sure. I always wonder, though, Kevin Owens, as we know, is a former Universal Champion. He's also a former Intercontinental Tag and United States Champion. He's won a lot of championships. Is this beneath him? Because I've got to be honest, he main evented night one of WrestleMania last year. I feel like it is. I really do. I haven't, Joey, so I'm going to ask you not to share. Yes, thank you. You've already mentioned that you won't. So yeah, I appreciate it that you don't. There's spoiling and then there's spoiling, you know. Megan says, I'm partial to a lemon drizzle. Me too. Lemon in general, I'm a fan. Leon says, Gunter versus Claudio, aka Cesaro, is a match I've wanted for years and it happened at a live event. It's just, sometimes you know you're going to get great wrestling, and anything involving Gunter, absolutely. Megan says, Owens is a Grand Slam champion. He is indeed. I don't think he gets celebrated as much as he does for his accomplishments because his Universal Championship run was brief, and it wasn't that brief, to be fair, but it wasn't too memorable, especially when you consider he was in a Survivor Series match while a champion. He was in a match, no holds barred, against Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, and then he got speared, and that was that. Sean says, I think CM Punk versus Dominic Mysterio is happening at a live event. It is indeed. Fair enough, Martin. Appreciate you for that. Says, you're amazing, mate. I was being sarcastic when you were looking down at something. I do the same. You're a brilliant host and learn a lot from you, believe me. I appreciate that, sir. I did very much enjoy being on your platform. I try my best to be as good a guest as I can and to just sort of wait my turn and then be concise and, you know, make my points. I'm very happy with the shows that I present. And I also think I'm pretty good at, like, this is me sort of tooting my own horn, so please don't think me arrogant here. I think I get a good laugh every now and then. Like, my jokes are dumb, but I think that helps. You know? I think that helps. I don't know. Leon says he was overshadowed by Chris Jericho. Last time I enjoyed Jericho's work, List of Jericho and Festival of Friendship was incredible. He was overshadowed. It's a very fair point. Tia says, what happened to Dolph Ziggler? He had everything. I've not seen him in some time. Fired, mate. Got fired. Rumours now that people in AEW want him involved there. I've already reported that a couple of weeks ago, of course. Jack says, do you think Orton and Knight fight and the winner gets Roman? No. Randy Orton's already got Roman. All right, Jack. Randy Orton's already signed the deal. As part of him moving to SmackDown, Nick Aldis promised him the match at the Royal Rumble against Roman. There'll be no qualifying match. It's already happened. We're close to the end of the first hour, and I've got to say, so far kind of slow. Kind of slow. As regards to multitasking in addition, I'm just going to throw this out there. Quite often when it comes to a live show like this, particularly if there's something big happening, I'm running a live newsroom. And because I'm running a live newsroom, I have to juggle a lot of things at once. When the last WWE releases were happening, I'm indebted to Sai because the Discord was turned into a newsroom. A lot of you were bringing stuff in. Sai was the one vetting it. So he was feeding me things to read out on air. He was doing the vetting, he was doing the checking, so I knew it was coming from the right source. Ed was helping out as well, Lauren was helping out, and we were just making sure that we had the accurate information for me to react to and for me to present on air. That was amazing. And my hope is that we do more of that in future. Now, I'm not hoping more people get released, so we may have to look at other news sources and the like. But I do like the idea of a roving newsroom, a live news show, which takes in a lot of information from a lot of different sources and covers a lot of ground. In many ways, that's what the watch parties are as well. So, more of that, please. And hopefully you guys enjoy stuff like that. That's my intention anyway. We are back on Kevin Owens, still active against Austin Theory. His wrist is pretty well padded. So he's just done a frog splash. Austin Theory edging himself closer for another one, which he's probably going to miss. Knees up for the swanton. Decent quality match so far. Quite a lot of jumping and diving, which is never a bad thing. Bayley says, what other work does Tony Khan do for his father's businesses? He doesn't really. He's involved in Jacksonville Jaguars. He's involved at Fulham FC. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's involved too much. Really, Martin? Well, to be fair, I've had people come here because of my appearance on your show and jump in. So I owe you a little bit, mate. Honestly, glad to help. Bayley says it's 50 on a record for a Smackdown watch party. It's not, but it's not far away. So we see peaks and troughs, we see different spikes and the like. At the moment, I can see we've got 43 people, 18 likes. For those who don't know, 2 more. We'll get us to 20 and I'd very much appreciate it. But we have had shows which have reached up to 80. They've dropped down again pretty heavily, but I still remember a Smackdown watch party that had over 8,000 views. Sometimes, what can I say, I just get the title right. Of course, the hope is that those who come in find, I don't know, fun here. They find fun here. And if you're finding fun here, if you're enjoying your time, you'll stick around. You'll hit subscribe, you know? That's the hope, that's the intention, and we'll see plenty more of you. That's the dream. And, you know, today's been a good day when it comes to that. 2 responses from Daniel Craig as regards Liv Morgan's arrest. Says, you only live once. I always favoured that Bond movie. You Only Live Twice is still, by the way, my actual favourite James Bond movie. I don't even know why. Doesn't really pan out today. I think it's largely because of the whole, they're hiding in an active volcano, which sounds ridiculous and is. Super kick from Kevin Owens. The crowd are really getting into this match. Since starting the show, I've lost 6 subscribers. Not sure what happened there, but okay. Sean says, who's your favourite James Bond? So, when I was younger, I really enjoyed Roger Moore. But honestly, I think George Lazenby. I genuinely liked On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I've not watched a lot of Daniel Craig. Lovely. Springboard Spanish Fly from Austin Theory. This is a great match. Austin Theory showing off here. To hear, no worries. Dolph Ziggler was released as part of cost-cutting measures. It was quite recently, and by all means you can look it up a little further. Jack has provided more details. Dolph was released on September 21st, 2023 with a lot of other wrestlers. We went live during that show and actually referenced it a moment ago. Yes, Brad, that's a great way of saying it. It's a fun group of friends. Yeah, that's all I really want. This show, the entire Colohue unity, as it were. Sean, in what world did I say I wasn't a fan of one person? Saying I like this person doesn't mean I hate this person. That's not the same thing. You know me, media literacy is important. So, the entire reason I started this show is because there was a lockdown and I could no longer bring some friends over to my house and watch the Royal Rumble while getting drunk. And it made me sad, and honestly, every now and then, made me a little bit weepy. So I started this programme, started doing spoiler warnings, started doing watch parties, and here we are now. Almost 3 years later, making money and having a very good time. You're welcome to hear. Mine says, I'm off to watch spoiler warning, mate. Hopefully you're back before the end. Back fully Monday night. Appreciate you, Martin. Thank you very much for dropping in. This match is going the distance as well. Kevin Owens being crotched on the outside. Austin Theory showing off. I've got to say, Austin Theory's making a very, very good account of himself. No real messing around here. He's willing to take a count out. The crowd are really into it as well. Leon says it's been a very good match so far, which is absolutely correct. There's 9. Owens runs. Pretty standard. Theory continues to do damage. I'm genuinely not sure which way this is going anymore. This match has been a very pleasant surprise. Theory's just showing off. Joey says this match has been fire. Absolutely right. Also says Theory is putting on a damn good showing. We know how good Kevin Owens is. I don't think people really recognise how good Austin Theory can be if given the chance. He's doing the job right now. Jack says Dolph will have his first match after his non-compete clause on January 2nd, 2024 for WWE in WWC, my mistake, in Puerto Rico. Cool. As I say, I know there's a lot of interest from AEW in him. I've reported that previously, and I do expect we're going to see him there sooner rather than later. You're not alone, T. You're not alone. Theory's in a tree of woe. And that's a cannonball into a man in a tree of woe. KO up top. Hits his swanton. Is that going to be it? No. Well done, Theory. Didn't look at the ref. Didn't give the game away there. Just controlled himself very nicely. That was a lovely false finish. This is an NXT match. The crowd are massively into it. I get the feeling that with Carmelo Hayes being called up to essentially have a great wrestling match, Kevin Owens and Austin Theory decided they were going to compete, and they've blown him out of the water. Grayson Waller too. The crowd are really into this. Owens goes for the stunner. Doesn't get it. Theory on the hand. Controlling it nicely. Is just going to do as much damage as possible now. Bayley says, I know WWE cuts hurt, but they're probably accurate 95% of the time. Does anyone miss Matt Riddle at this point, for example? There's a number of people I do miss. Mustafa Ali, for example. I personally was never that big a fan of Matt Riddle. Austin Theory just doing as much damage as he can. Owens with the right hand. Might be a mock to Logan Paul. Is that going to be it? I do not like how that finished. The match was great. That was unnecessary. He could have hit him with that and then thrown him into a pop-up powerbomb, a stunner. That's... Put a dampener on it. Now, I'm still giving the match a 9. Solid, high tempo, inventive, great fun. Quite a bit of ring psychology there. Austin Theory showing what he can do. A shame we didn't get that for a John Cena match or anything, but that, the only thing letting it down for me was the finish. Just went real slow motion and just awkward. I just think they could have done more with that. That said, as I say, rating it at a 9. Let me know what you thought of the match out of 10. Seeing plenty of numbers already coming in. Dom says 8.5, great story. Brad gives it a 9. Joey says I'm giving this a 9, banger match. Bayley gives it a 9. Leon a 9 as well. Dan says, aren't WWE wrestlers allowed to use cannabis? To be clear, Dan, she was arrested by the police, not by the WWE. Very different situations. Sean says, that finish reminds me of when Alexa Bliss beat Mickie James with a forearm. To be fair, the Alexa Bliss forearm was pretty well established. So Kevin Owens will face Carmelo Hayes on Smackdown. I'm very happy with that. Very happy with that. They also went into the draw segment. I suspect they may have been given extra time. We've gone backstage to a bloodline we haven't seen in about 40 minutes. Roman just complaining about Randy. Megan says, I can agree with the 9. False finish was good. Both men got good moves in and got decent time to shine. Sean says, Fallon Henley tweeted about wanting to team with Mickie James. Do you see it happening? Well, if ever they're in the same company, yes. Guys, what's promotion season? Roman's referenced it twice now, and I have no idea what he's talking about. Is it an American football thing? Jack says 9.5, great match, but the ending. Dom echoes Jimmy Uso did a shout of a yeet. There's a yeet chant going through the crowd right now. I expected a UF'd up chant. That's correct, Jimmy. No yeet. Roman's still not happy with Jey Uso. Once again, they're pushing Randy Orton versus Jimmy Uso later tonight. And once again, they mention promotion season. What is that? Joey says, I love Theory's Spanish Fly. It looks so smooth. It does. He was very, very good at it. Now, is it a Spanish Fly or is nowadays it being rechristened to a Spanish Yeet? A Spanish Yeet or a Spinete? A Speet? I don't understand words. I think that was clear. So, earlier on today, I finished my first show. Went downstairs, because my office is upstairs, to my partner. And I realised that I'm standing and I'm pacing and I'm hyper and I'm soapboxing. Now I soapbox, that's something that I do, and I try not to. But, you know, when I start soapboxing, my girls will tuck themselves in comfortably on the couch and then be like, go ahead, make your speech. Like, they enjoy it, but they know it's going to be a while. And I christened it, in the typical Tom Colohue way, a collar cool down, because I was on cooldown from the level of hype I get during these shows. And Martin, if he was still here, would back me up. I'm not this hyper in real life. Being on camera does things to me. I'm real quiet and real chill most of the time. But yeah, I'm on camera, so it's a Colohue brand. The collar brand? The crand? The creed? I don't know words. But yeah, that was the thing that occurred to me earlier that I just thought was funny. It probably wasn't funny and you're probably hating every word that I say, but I said it now, so we're just going to have to accept it. Just going to have to accept it. Brad just says Tom and then deletes it. Wow. I feel judged. I feel judged. We are more than an hour through Smackdown. The last match really picked up the pace and it flew. 50 minutes left. Still nothing from the women so far. Nothing from Santos Escobar. But he is, of course, in a tag team match. No, he's on a tag team. Is in a United States Championship tournament match at some point next week. So he may be being saved. Logically, we might not see the Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza until next week, when it's already been recorded. Oh, Brad, I never said I was shy. I said I was quiet. Shy and quiet do not mean the same thing. I'm the guy who you don't hear from in a meeting for 40 minutes, and when I have something to say, you're going to shut up and listen. That's who I am. That's very much my style. I pick my moments and I pick my battles. So he says, it's okay, Tom, we all got our stuff. Lovely. Lovely. We all got our stuff. Do you remember I said earlier, I hope I get a few laughs? And nobody backed me up. I feel like you all are sending me a message. And it's not a fun one. Just going to throw it out there. It's not a fun one. Megan says, I talk way more when I'm streaming than I do normally. It's a weird thing. I think just as a streamer, you learn to fill the air. I feel very blessed and very lucky. For example, if I go live with a spoiler warning, with no news, I'm still going to get an hour-long show. Because you will be there and you have questions. Sorted. Sorted, you know? So, a lot of the reasons behind the engagement that we do in these shows, the fact that I try and answer all your questions is because when I first started, I'd peak at 15, 18 people per show. That was a great number for me at that time. And I had a long script that would take me about 20 minutes to read out. And by about 25 minutes, I was done. Nowadays, I script very little. I just take notes based on what I've already been told and, preparations and the like. Oh, we have a Karrion Kross promo. He's already lost in the United States Championship picture. Recycled. Okay. We can't take you seriously, mate. Calm down. But anyway, it means that if I'm doing a watch party for 5 hours, what would normally be me sitting here in silence every now and then going, oh, that was nice, to a move on the show, I'm instead talking to you. And because you're there, I have constant stream of things to react to, of content, of questions. And as you know, the watch parties, super chill. Super chill. Which means that I can talk about whether we've been buying crisps and the like, and how roast chicken crisps are the worst thing in the known world. And I like that. That's all I'm really saying. You guys make the show, and I'm just very grateful to have so many people constantly popping up during the shows. So thank you. It's McKay says, I'm a little late. Have you heard about Liv Morgan? Yes, that was brought to my attention by Joey and by Megan. Thankfully, I was able to find it and put a post up on the community page. Thank you guys for sharing. This is, as I mentioned, we're a bit of a newsroom here, and I really enjoy that. Brett says, your boss must love that. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, Stay out of the way until you've got something important to add. Tom says, oh no, not a Karrion Kross promo. Shake my damn head. Joey says, oh look, Kross is on TV. Carmelo Hayes introducing himself to Kevin Owens backstage. They're just making a point that the match will be good. And you know what? I believe it. Sean says, I figured I'd bring this to your attention, but a fake account claiming to be SRS said Liv had been, I'd imagine that's supposed to be suspended by WWE for 30 days for a violation of the company's wellness policy. I don't believe it for obvious reasons. Well, the main reason you shouldn't believe it is because it doesn't come from a credible source. Megan says, in watch parties we talk snacks, and also, yes, chicken crisps are terrible. Bayley says, what are chicken crisps? Any crisps or potato chips. Oh, we're seeing a replay of the knee injury and also the hit to the head that Charlotte took. I'd imagine we're about to get an update. You'll note that Bayley attacked Charlotte before she could actually get the bridge in because she couldn't get the bridge. So yes, any potato chips that are flavoured like chicken, they're not for me. Megan says Hayes versus Owens is going to cook. I completely agree. So we're getting a Damage Control promo in which Bayley celebrates what she has built. And to be fair, she has. This is old Bayley. Early in the days of Damage Control when she was controlling. Bold words, most powerful and dangerous champion in WWE. Bayley's been covering your ass for a long time now, mate. Long time. Dom says Tom is on with Bayley at the Rumble number. Spoiler. I've said for a while, Bayley's turn. Dakota Kai preparing herself to become the mouthpiece of this group. Calling Dakota Kai a mastermind there. She will be, of course, the mastermind of Bayley's betrayal. Joey says the Kabuki Warriors are back. They are. Bayley making a point of going for Rhea Ripley. Gotcha, Dom. Appreciate that. Brad, what's your source there, mate? Am I just behind on the show? Did I not hear it right? I think maybe I didn't hear it right. Joey says this SmackDown's been a banger. Tahir says if WWE decide to bring back Vince Russo, Jim Cornette, or Jim Ross, who would you pick? None. I don't want any of them, and the WWE will never bring back any of them. Joey says, and the theme too? I mean, I'm kind of loving that theme. I'm kind of loving it. So the WWE are on a mission at the moment to rebuild the tag team division. And this is a great way to do it. Michin and Zelina Vega already on the attack. I genuinely feel this is a great way to do it. Bayley says, Bayley calls Dakota a true mastermind. Well, that's a clue. Yes, it is. Let's not forget, mastermind is also something that was said about Seth Rollins when he was in the Shield. Hope you all remember that. We definitely got a commercial break coming up. The fact that Michin is there is very telling about the fact that AJ Styles is there. That's all I'll say. Thank you, Brad. I didn't hear it because I was talking over it. Thank you for the clarification and thank you for posting it to make sure I'm aware of it. Yeah, I say people are getting very tight-lipped. The only information I got earlier was that it was not looking good. I reckon then she'll probably return Royal Rumble 2025. They'll take their time with her. They won't rush her. That's gotta suck. Bianca Belair needs a new opponent at WrestleMania. Might be Jade Cargill. Might be anyone, to be fair. Or maybe she drops out of WrestleMania altogether and just goes into the Battle Royal. It's not good, is it? It's not good news. And I do feel Charlotte Flair's in a really good spot at the minute. She was doing really well in her face push. She had the right opponent. She wasn't too close to the championship. People weren't automatically assuming she was going to be winning the championship every single week. I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's awkward. Bayley says no opponent. Maybe it's boss time. That would be a very good match. A very good option. I was told a couple of days ago that Triple H is going really intensely hell for leather to try and get this over the line and get Sasha Banks back. I reported that earlier on, a spoiler warning. Certainly that suggests to me that maybe it was connected to the news about Charlotte. Sean says Charlotte was also helping Shotzi get over as well. Very true. Charlotte was starting to give back. And this is a serious injury. It's not long ago we lost her for a year anyway. So she's going to be off TV for a while after being off TV for a while. We've currently regained some of our lost subscriber count. We're at 5,444. If you're enjoying the content here, please do consider subscribing. We do a SmackDown watch party every single week. We are an hour and 20 minutes into it, 2/3 of the way through SmackDown. And so far, so good. The match quality's been high. I like the promo from Damage Control. I liked the use of Kevin Owens and the use of LA Knight and the opening promo. Great work by Roman and by Randy. Now we're on to the random tag team of Michin and Zelina Vega, who I'd imagine are just there to take a loss. You'll note Dakota Kai is there with the Kabuki Warriors. She going forwards is going to be the ever-present despite her injury, which, by the way, she's already cleared. I do think the big bust-up will eventually be when Dakota Kai chooses to stand with Bayley, then hit her in the back. That's when I think the moment comes. Joey says that would be a good way to give Jade a big moment on the main roster, putting her in a match with Bianca. Tom says, who would like to see come back as the women? I would like Ember Moon. I think Toni Storm could do great things if she came back now, I'll tell you that. Brad just says it's devastating, which is fair. It is fair. Kabuki Warriors in action. Kairi Sane's flying forearm is odd. She didn't really jump. Bayley, I'm going to have to correct you there. You're saying WrestleOps reporting Charlotte will be out 9 months. I believe we just saw that happen on Smackdown. So I don't think they're necessarily reporting it. I think WWE have reported it. Teamwork now from Kabuki Warriors, double teaming Michin. No worries, Bayley. It's important that we look out for each other on this one to make sure that no one, is duped or accidentally goes down a bit of a rabbit hole. There's a reason I ask for sourcing, and it's not just for yourselves. A lot of the time it's because I want to know where it's come from myself, so that if I ever repeat it to someone else, or if I chase a source using it, I know where it's come from. It's hard at the moment. It's very hard to keep up with a constantly evolving world of news, So we do what we can with it. Joey said, Dakota reminds me of Seth when he was in The Shield. He was a secret assassin. Not 2 minutes ago, I made that same comparison. Leon says, Jade may have the look, but she has little to no talent as in-ring professional wrestler. We haven't really seen her wrestle in WWE yet. I'll wait until she steps in to see what's going on. And yeah, Joey, we did indeed have a CM Punk troll. Everyone say hi and bye to the troll. There's one person who just keeps creating new accounts to try and troll, and they're just so boring. Dom says, I like Kairi Sane's new character. It seems unpredictable. That's always been her. She's just incredibly stoic. She just does not respect anyone. I would compare it to Tetsuya Naito. Just in the absolute, at all times, complete lack of respect that she shows. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. Gotcha, Bayley. That makes sense. I missed it myself. I'm just grateful that other people brought it in. Brad made sure that we knew what had been reported by WWE there. Zelina Vega's had herself a hot tag. Very awkward kick there. So far the match has been okay. Zelina Vega seems to be very gentle at the moment. No real impact in what she's doing. Did they say Goku Demon Slayer or Ngoku? Because they're different things. Brad says hi, troll. Bye, troll. Leon says Kairi's been botching a lot lately. I mean, no more than anyone else has, I don't think. Tia says Jade is like Goldberg. I hope WWE can save her and it's not too late. She can be great. WWE have her working in the Performance Center, honing her craft as we speak. Asuka has been tagged in, and I've got to say, of everyone in the ring, Asuka feels legit. She's the one who should be picking up the wins here, and it looks like that's exactly what's about to happen. Zelina Vega is struggling. Michin's trying to reach her, but that should be... Oh, she rolls through. Asuka Lock is just not a good move anymore. Everyone rolls out of it. Michin back in. Just a lot of kicks. Okay, I like what I'm seeing. A headbutt's always a good thing. Mia Yim's going for a finish here. Kairi Sane slightly slower than needed. I don't really see how that's a finisher, to be honest, but we are where we are. Bayley says, like Kevin Owens, I don't think fans appreciate Asuka enough. At 42, she's a marvel. She is also, to be fair, working mum. Doesn't get spoken about very publicly. Sean says, they just said with Charlotte down, who can help stop damage control a certain goddess when she returns? Well, I mean, that's a long time away. There won't be a damage control by the time Alexa Bliss is ready to return, if she chooses to return. It's not a case of, okay, the baby's out, get back to work. That's not how that works. Dakota Kai causing some distractions. Bayley, as always, backing her team. Attacks Michin, creates the opportunity there for the insane elbow. Lovely elbow drop, as always, straight into a very sit on the face pin. Wasn't ready for that one. I wasn't ready for that one. You know, Rhea Ripley has her sexy pin. I think Kairi Sane has her own version of the sexy pin. Slightly different. Also good leverage, to be fair. So that match was pretty cut and dry. Pretty paint by numbers, exactly what we expected. Showing that Damage Control is back on the same page again. No sign of Io Sky, but we had plenty of Bayley. There's Io. Plenty of Bayley, plenty of Dakota Kai, all working as a unit. I don't think there's going to be any breakup before the Royal Rumble. I would be interested to see if Sasha Banks does re-sign when she signed the deal, because this feels like a pivot. Jimmy Uso basically whining to Solo Sikoa about Roman's treatment of him. He knows he's on camera now, right? We have some ratings coming in for the match. Dom gives it a 6. Brad gives it a 7. I'm giving it a 6. As I say, paint by numbers, but the tempo was good. There was a couple of good double team maneuvers, and it does continue the story for Damage Control. So I'll give it a 6. Jimmy Uso looking for an ally here. Solo Sikoa not quite providing one. Leon says, just saying, Bryan Danielson is one of the best wrestlers of all time. Held trainer, and that did nothing but possibly made it worse. Okay, interesting. Joey says, I could see Mercedes helping Bayley if she's coming back. If you've watched Spoiler Warning earlier today, you'll know my thoughts on this. Tom says, Bayley will get her reward like Sammy got his. Indeed, Sammy worked with Johnny Knoxville and then started working with Brock Lesnar, then started working the Bloodline, and the rest is literally history. It's just a shame that since then it's kind of gone backwards again, but you get what you get. Bayley gives the match a 6. So yeah, certainly I feel that was probably the worst match of the night so far. Still, however, not a bad match. Still not a bad match. We were maybe a little bit spoiled with Kevin Owens and Austin Theory. They gave them time, they gave them effort, and they made some magic. Speaking of making magic, so far during this show we've had 1,190 views, about at 1,200 with a half hour left to go. We peaked at, if I'm not mistaken, 47 viewers, and we're currently at a nice high number for the likes of 25 likes. We've only 23 likes. We've only the 23 watching. I want to say a massive thanks to everyone for joining me, keeping me company, and chatting along. Always appreciate all of you. Joey says Sammy went from being in a comedy match to the biggest storyline of the year. And to be fair, said comedy match was still good. Like, it was still good. Tia says CM Punk, Randy, Jade, LA Knight, Seth at WrestleMania. It's going to be awesome. There are some very, very big names. When I book the Royal Rumble, I'm going to struggle to find names in the mid-card to feature. Pardon me. Everyone feels big deal at the moment. Everyone. Megan says, not bad, not great. Did what it needed to do, but I think putting it after the US tournament matches, it did hurt it a little. They could easily have put it, swapped this match and the Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory one. It depends whether or not they wanted Kevin Owens and then Randy Orton. I think they wanted Kevin Owens in the draw segment. Megan gives it a 6.5. Slightly more generous than me, I'll say that. Sean says Sammy versus Johnny Knoxville over Tribal Combat. Tribal Combat was bad. We know Roman's a good wrestler. We know Jey Uso's a good wrestler. They did not create a good wrestling match. They just didn't. King Azza, welcome. Says, with Charlotte's injury, does this mean Bianca will miss WrestleMania? No. The injury to Charlotte has certainly caused some issues, and Bianca has lost her match at the moment, but the match is still slotted in, and there is still space for it on the WrestleMania card. They just need to find a better... Well, sorry, not a better, that's the wrong word. They just need to find another opponent that fits the bill for what they want to do. Joey says, I hope Sami and KO will have a match at Mania. Sami, I think, will likely face Drew McIntyre. And if Drew McIntyre signed a new deal, he'll win. If he doesn't, he'll probably lose. KO I'm a little more worried about. I don't think KO's going to have a match at WrestleMania this year. Joey says, as regards SummerSlam, it was one of Roman's worst matches. It felt so slow and went way too long. It was 40 boring minutes. And then a completely nonsensical Jimmy Uso run-in. It was bad. There are definitely a lot of people who feel that Roman's title reign has run its course. I've been one of them for about a year. I'm not loving it. Not anymore. King Other says, would you have Jade fill that spot against Bianca? Personally, no. I feel there are other options who could also fit that spot. Usually at this point we get a few backstage bits. We start the entrance for the main event, which I'd imagine would be Randy, and then we cut to another commercial break. We are starting to get some promo packages. Santos Escobar at the moment. Logically, this will be followed by Bobby Lashley. Joey says, I was legit falling asleep during that match. Had to keep standing up to stay awake. Now, I didn't do a SummerSlam watch party because I had internet issues at the time. Sorry, guys, my throat's gone real dry. If you recall, I had some pretty intense internet issues at the time, so I didn't do a live watch party. What I will say is if I did a live watch party, I probably would have fallen asleep on camera. The match was boring. Sean says, do you think we still get Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania or Becky versus Nia? Becky versus Rhea. Becky versus Nia seems set to happen a long time before that. I'd imagine that's an Elimination Chamber match. Sean says they broke the rules of tribal combat. Oh, because of the interference? Yeah, makes sense. So Bobby Lashley was featured in that promo package, but here he is flanked by Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. They will likely wrestle next week anyway. Bobby Lashley versus Logan Paul, I don't see happening. I also wouldn't hate it. Bobby Lashley would be a very good US champion. The intention did seem to be to make these three a heel team. I reported that previously. They have tried to do so. Fans are not willing to buy into it. Fans are not willing to buy into it at all. So I feel like WWE are going to row back. And row back hard. Bobby Lashley's taking his glasses off. That means it's serious. So we get that next week, the first semi-final match, Bobby Lashley versus Santos Escobar. For those in the arena, that will of course be happening in about an hour or so. We also have Carmelo Hayes versus Kevin Owens. In reality, I feel like there's only one heel there. Usually you'd have a better balance of that, but honestly, I'm just excited for Kevin Owens versus Santos Escobar. Oh, also next week, Dragon Lee defends the North American Championship against Butch. I'd imagine Rich Holland's going to have something to say about that. Holiday Havoc Women's Tag Match. So it's Damage Control, minus Dakota Kai, of course. Against Mia Yim, Zelina Vega, Bianca Belair and Shotzi. I don't know what makes it Holiday Havoc, but hey, it's a big tag match. So I've had a couple of promo hype packages. We had some announcement of next week. Randy Orton is making his entrance. Logically, we're about to have that next commercial break. Sean says, does WWE tell fans in advance that the show they attended is a double taping? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. When I went to see Smackdown last in Manchester, they did a dual taping of Smackdown, then turned the lights to red and did a taping of Raw. It actually only lasted about 3.5 hours. Because they were taping it, they didn't need to worry about commercial breaks, and they could basically record a lot of the backstage stuff while the wrestling was happening. So we just basically got 3.5 hours of wrestling. Of course, the show I was there for was the one with the dog food and the doggy bags between Baron Corbin and Roman. Wasn't great. Bayley says, has Raw become the A show now? Yes, it has. The prime reason being that they haven't got their new TV deal yet. They're trying to hype up Raw as much as possible to get as much of those good TV rights as they possibly can. And they will succeed at it. So until at least they get that deal across the line, Raw will continue to be the A show. Leon says, I could see Drew versus Sammy at WrestleMania. No clue what they're doing with KO, AJ Styles, Bobby, or Sheamus at WrestleMania. Yeah, that's fair. That's a lot of good names missing. King Az says, Tom, what's the point of Randy versus Roman because we know who's going to win? To be fair, if there is no point having a match if you know the winner, then Roman Reigns wouldn't have defended his championship for 3 years. He would have just kept it for 3 years. The only time I've ever felt it's even possible that Roman loses his championship was at WrestleMania when he was against Cody. And I thought he would at that point. At no other point did I think Roman was going to lose. So I think it might be worth just putting on a good wrestling match. Taya says Bobby should be going up against someone way better. Should go up against Solo or someone not this Santos guy. To be fair, he can't always be going up against a top talent. Sometimes you have to help other people develop. Santos Escobar fits that bill. Leon says 2019 WWE was a bad time. It really was. Thank you, Jack, for letting me know. Because YouTube is now offering automated ads, I largely leave them to it. I think we essentially get a skippable ad, so somewhere between 5 and 20 seconds every 30 minutes. So essentially 1 in 90 of the show is an ad. Now, obviously, as I've explained before, my intention is to go full time with this. If it does get egregious, if it does get bad with the ads, let me know, because I do have some options to tweak it. But I'm hoping it'll be somewhat limited and it'll only go out to certain people, so it'll pick a random 20% of the people here, give them an ad, and so on and so forth. It also means a lot of the casual viewers who've tuned in but don't necessarily care about what we do here get flushed out because they see an ad and they switch off. Match has kicked off. I do think we're going to see quite a bit of carnage at the end of it because I don't see Randy Orton wrestling for 20 minutes. He's already gone for the draping DDT. Jimmy Uso runs away. And that will be our first commercial break while Jimmy Uso stands on the outside calling for a time out. And you know, that timeout is a reference to it being promotion season. Whatever that is. Brad says 2019 was worse than the worst of the Attitude Era. Disagree on that one. The Attitude Era was terrible, and I will never trust anyone who thinks that it was incredible. You had maybe 10 minutes of good programming in an episode of WWE Raw during the Attitude Era, and when you say, what did people love? It's usually, oh, DX. Oh, Steve Austin. Oh, The Rock. All fair comments. You remember the Billy Gunn versus Ken Shamrock versus Val Venus feud, right? Didn't think so. You remember Mark Henry turning on D'Lo Brown because he wouldn't let him go to a strip club, right? Didn't think so. You remember the Godfather's actual matches and wrestling, right? Didn't think so. Yeah. John says, I hated it, but AJ, KO, Sheamus could end up in the Battle Royal. They could. Billy says people forget Al Snow and Pete Gas too. Very true. You remember when the Big Boss Man was getting pushed? Like, pushed hard. Oh, and, you know, the union of people you ought to respect, son. Oh, when the Big Show was WWE champion, y'all remember that? Y'all remember? Yeah. Yeah. Guys, it wasn't a great time. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. King Heather says, Tom, do you think WWE bury Cody if he loses again to Roman? No. I don't think WWE are intending to bury Cody. It's Cody Rhodes, mate. If anything, I think it would actually do good things for his career to lose again, because he does have that feeling of someone on scholarship, so I'm actually happy with the fact that he lost. I don't think fans would have been behind him if he just won immediately. Don't get me wrong, it's not ideal for him, but I certainly think it gives him an upgrade in opportunities. I'm going to pour one last glass of cherry coke. If I have any more, I will not sleep. Because caffeine. Oh, that's gone everywhere. Of course it has. I'm a mess. Guys, I'm a mess. I do apologise. I have a half glass. Ooh. 20 minutes left. We are in our main event. Randy Orton versus Jimmy Uso. There'll be one more commercial break after this, but I'd imagine we're going to see Roman getting involved, doing some damage to Randy. Likely LA Knight will get involved at that point. I just think there's going to be quite a bit of carnage, to be honest. James says Jinder Mahal's push was the worst. Certainly the racist stuff, yeah. Tia says, hey Tom, gotta go. Thanks a lot and thanks to everyone. It's been great. You are welcome, Tia. Thank you very much for joining. We look forward to seeing you again soon. That was lovely. I do like that every now and then we'll see a new name in and they'll chat away and they just seem so excited to be here and to actually have people to talk to when it comes to stuff. I do think that's the best part of these watch parties, is just the community of it, because we're all watching Smackdown together. It's not just about me, you know? It's not just that, oh, you're watching it with me. We're also watching it with each other. We're getting an action replay of a classic Randy Orton back body drop onto the table. And just because it was during the commercial break, we're going to get another one as well. The referee is given the count for a count out. I think we're going to be fine for the next 6-7 minutes or so. Might just get some good wrestling. Randy Orton knows how to go, of course. I don't necessarily think Jimmy is a top caliber wrestler personally. I think he's good, but I think he's been a little bit exposed by wrestling solo. Whereas main event who's Jey Uso, he upped his game when it came to wrestling as a singles wrestler. I don't necessarily think Jimmy Uso has. Working with Randy Orton, I think, will potentially be the thing that elevates him. Another Randy Orton chant from the crowd. They are loving it. Jimmy Uso has the neckerchief in his back pocket, and honestly, it looks like he's a member of Judgment Day. Do apologise. My voice has gone a bit crackly there. A bit hoarse. I think it's the ring light. Drying me out. Brad, you might have missed a couple of letters there. Sean says, are you ready and excited for the holiday? Any plan for New Year's? So, it's a good question. The plan for the shows is to basically continue as usual with the exception of Monday. The Monday for the week after next is, as we know, Christmas Day. There will not be a spoiler warning on Christmas Day. There also will not be a spoiler warning on New Year's Day, so the 1st. We'll miss 2 Mondays in a row. The Friday show, that being the 22nd, will be a normal spoiler warning and a normal Smackdown. We will be doing our shows on the 22nd. The 29th version of spoiler warning will be our holiday special. So it's going to be the point at which we basically just look back over the year, celebrate, wish each other happy Christmas. I wear a Christmas jumper. Might even ask if Si can make me a special holiday overlay because he always does very good work for that. But that will be our holiday special when it's not necessarily even all about wrestling. There'll be a bit of news, I'm sure. Pardon me. What it will be all about is holiday spirit, community, helping each other out, you know? 29th will be the holiday special. There will be no show on the 25th, no show on the 1st. To be blunt, I got stuff to do. Cool. Cool. I do try and make sure that, we can do things as a unit, we can do things as a team. But I also have family time to get on with that side of my life as well. I hope everyone else has got good plans going for Christmas and for New Year's. Hope everyone's excited. Hope everyone's done all of their Christmas shopping so far. Brad says, didn't they used to think it was the other way around with Jay and Jimmy? Not sure, if I'm honest. I could never really see a standout wrestler. When it came to pure wrestling talent and content and charisma on the mic, neither one really stood out to me because they worked so well in tandem. Jimmy Uso, of course, getting good boos. James Ellsworth did as well. James Ellsworth did as well. Jimmy Ellsworth. Oh, Jimmy Usworth. Oh, God, it's terrible. Why am I saying things? Jimmy Usworth. I'm never going to not hear that. Randy Orton spitting everywhere. Goes again for the draping DDT, but no such luck. We're going back to the outside, ready for a commercial break again. This time Randy Orton, can he recover from this? All he's doing is laying down, mate. That was not a big fall. Megan says, I know that after Monday, I'm going from having a schedule to, if I have more than 2 hours free, I might stream until mid-January, which I think is fair. 15th of January will be our season premiere. So we're still going to be doing shows up until then, but that will be the 3rd anniversary of the Tom Colohue channel. Let me have a look up, what that actually would be. That will be a Monday. So we will be doing a spoiler warning on that day. And that will quite literally be the new season, the season premiere. It will also be the first day in which I take a paycheck from this YouTube channel. The very first paycheck in my history. It's about £60. It's about £60. My very first paycheck, the very first time the income from this channel will not go immediately back into this channel. The income that I've made so far from this channel is one of the main reasons we've gained as many views and as many subscribers as we have so far this year. That reinvestment from your generosity has been huge and imperative to the growth of this channel. Naturally, all of that growth and all of that money spent is creating more growth and more money to spend. To a point now where I have the editing software that I was looking for, I have the streaming PC that I was looking for. I've done quite a bit of good old-fashioned YouTube advertising to get the word out, and I've had many, many views and many new subscribers because of it. And I do think, after 3 years, I can take a paycheck and say, well done me. I don't often like to celebrate myself, but I think there's a good reason to after 3 years of it, Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Fair enough, Megan. I really can't blame you. I definitely went way too far. Definitely went way too far. It's a good comparison, though. Joey says, we got a lot of wrestling tonight. Really fun show. Danny here says, evening, welcome. You are definitely a night owl, sir. Definitely a night owl. Blue says, I was watching your stream from earlier, Tom. And do you think that Tony set himself up for problems by saying he wouldn't fire folks about cause like with Punk? How to say? I think he made a promise without considering that business ramifications may one day force his hand. There's obviously a lot of different things in play, but as I've mentioned, about 2 years ago, I covered an AEW financial analysis, some of the best actual investigative journalism I feel I've done ever, in which I was discussing, 1, AEW wasn't profitable, and 2, providing evidence of that. For over an hour, we went in depth as to why AEW were not profitable. We were also then later able to report that there would be a lot of people being quietly released from AEW contracts. Unfortunately, they were also planning to bring a lot of people in, so it was difficult to manage. When it comes to AEW, when it comes to Tony Khan, there is a lot of things that could go wrong. But as I've said earlier, I don't think AEW are actually in anything terminal at the moment. Yes, they need an increase in the TV rights, and I don't think they've got the leverage to do so. But I still think with the resources at their disposal, they can make something of it. Joey says, congrats Dom, you deserve it. Thank you, Joey. Bismo and Blue say much the same. Thank you very much, guys. Dan says, I know you're not really an AEW guy, but if you like action matches, the Trios main event of Rampage is great. Can't comment on the rest of Rampage as a main is all I've seen. Interesting. I can certainly look that up. Who's in the Trios match? Leon says, has Drew been in contract talks yet? Not really. There's been sort of loose discussions ongoing, but nothing that anyone commits to. Dan says, the joys of Japan being 9 hours ahead, but the US being 5 and 8 hours behind, plus self-employed wrestling promoter in it. Makes sense. In many ways, I envy you. You can at least do this full time. Joey says, I love when you do the fake news breakdown streams. Those are so funny. I do remember at the Royal Rumble, the show afterwards, we went in for about half an hour on the claims that Zero News had been making. Funnily enough, they're back in the news recently because they want credit for saying CM Punk was coming back. You don't get to say Steve Austin and The Rock are going to have a stare down at the Royal Rumble and then claim credit for CM Punk. Or unless you do, guys. Let me know. Solo Sikoa is heading down to the ring to support Jimmy. LA Knight immediately coming down to balance the odds, and immediately the fight begins. We expected carnage. That is very much what we're getting. Blue says, feel bad for Charlotte missing Mania 40. The 5-0s are special. They are indeed. Randy Orton has already won the match. LA Knight offers the necessary support. The distraction provides Randy Orton a platform to hit the RKO off camera and make things happen. Now, we still potentially have Roman to get involved here. We haven't seen an AJ Styles yet, but he may well be in the second half of the show. But you never know. Maybe LA Knight's about to get an RKO. We do indeed have Roman in play. Randy Orton making a point of turning his back when he saw Roman coming down. Right thing to do. LA Knight takes the hit. Randy Orton looks furious. Not a face you've seen very often. Leon says no AJ so far. Dan says Action Andretti and Top Flight versus Penta, Commander and Vikingo. I'm a big Penta fan. Mostly because the man is just made of rage. And Blue says you can claim credit if you say everything will happen, as many have done in the past. Megan says big clue next week is pre-taped. The show's been well paced to make sure the crowd doesn't peak too early and gets tired during the tapings. I agree with that. Also, the tempo of each match has been fairly high. And even though it looks like we're going to get Kevin Owens versus Carmelo Hayes also at the same taping, Kevin Owens didn't exactly hide. We are indeed getting straight into Roman and Randy Orton having a good old-fashioned barn burner. There is still a Jimmy Uso and a Solo Sikoa somewhere in play. LA Knight has been taken down, but not necessarily taken out. Jimmy Uso immediately paying dividends. Sean says, since this is a double taping, do you expect Roman will be on the show? Yep, absolutely. Because they only have to pay him once. Dan says, AEW's biggest risk is TV. They can lose the type of money they've lost this year for years to come and still be okay. If they lose the TV, though, that's a different thing altogether, of course. Absolutely it is. We spoke about this earlier on Spoiler Warning. There will come a time when the financiers of Tony Khan decide that the loss is not worth sustaining. Without a TV deal, that day happens a lot sooner. It is indeed 3-on-2 at the moment. We speculated earlier that we were going to have a 6-man tag match during next week's Smackdown. That being, of course, AJ Styles, who is expected to return, and in fact is actively returning, alongside LA Knight there to get the rub, and Randy Orton against the Bloodline. Would be also a great point for Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson to get involved. Styles is going to hop them. This is clever. He nearly lost his foot in there. It was not the phenomenal forearm he's known for. This definitely screams six-man tag. I think we nailed it, guys. In reference to the previous point, Dan, I completely agree. Lots of moving parts on it, but AEW definitely needs to get something sorted and something soon. Even if it's not necessarily the most lucrative deal, a decent deal will see him free. Pardon me. I always seem to get sick around Christmas. I don't want it to happen again. AJ Styles has got abs for days. That man is buff. Man's been working out. Yep, okay. I guess the six-man tag's out the window. You could see on AJ's face something was up there. AJ Styles attacks LA Knight. Goes a bit Seth Rollins there. Doesn't attack Randy. So he doesn't like Roman, he doesn't like LA Knight. Does he like anyone? I'd imagine this is how we get to his WrestleMania match. Logically what? AJ versus KO? Because that's a heel turn. Not sure what happened there. Lots of carnage by the end though. Jack says, wow, I don't get what's just happened. Blue says, everyone going away has been getting into shape for Mania season. I mean, you're not wrong. Sami Zayn's going to come back absolutely buff. Megan says, AJ and Randy have been spending time on the same workouts. Both are somehow more jacked than before. And Sean says, heel turn for AJ? Seems so. I don't get why he'd attack Roman and then not attack Roman. Gomar says, AJ looks bulkier. He does indeed. And Joey says, a really good SmackDown tonight, giving it a 9. So let's talk about that just as we start our wrap up. What did you make of SmackDown tonight? I think the wrestling quality was excellent, particularly the second match. The second match was Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory, and I think Theory really showed how good he can be. The separation of LA Knight, I am expecting that long term we'll see Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso teaming up against the Bloodline rather than LA Knight. Seems pretty clear. Looks like we're about to get building into the Royal Rumble LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Leon gives them the show a 9 as well. So I would say it was an 8 show. I think there was a lack of huge moments, certainly. Everything with Roman Reigns was kind of by the book and the women's match was too short. But ultimately I still think very high quality wrestling, very good tempo, very good opening promo. And the return of AJ Styles, particularly with the carnage caused. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. More importantly, I'm invested. And isn't that all we need? Dan says it depends though really on the specifics of the business. You can be losing money and in debt, but still a successful company the banks are good with, i.e. Netflix. Very true. Also very true of the country that we live in. Bayley says an 8 tonight, but the Bloodline was meh. Jack says 9.5. I liked everything but the KO ending. Fair point. Not the best ending for a match. Bismo says I missed the last 25 minutes, but felt like a good show to me. Dan says, and with a brilliant owner, so long as they have TV, I don't think there's a lot to worry about on these figures. There's other things to worry about, of course. Yeah, I said much the same earlier. There are some concerns, and the TV deal is the main one, but I don't see them dropping off the air entirely. They could keep going for a long time. They just have to enact some cost-cutting measures. They've got enough on the roster that they could essentially cut half their roster and still perform admirably. One of the concerns right now, of course, is investor confidence. Because, you know, they were supposed to be saying that we will be the alternative to WWE. And I just don't feel that they've adequately challenged, at least not anymore. So if you can get WWE instead, why wouldn't you? You know? Why wouldn't you? That's the big thing for me. If you can get WWE and replace AEW when AEW are in many ways faltering, why wouldn't you? It's been a pleasure, as always. A good Smackdown and a good time. Huge thank you to all of you for joining me, keeping me company in the dark, rainy winter nights. Dan says, I completely agree. The trios match is a prime example of what should be on Dynamite in my opinion, because it's actual alternative. A lot of AEW has become more WWE in style, which is not an alternative. AEW unfortunately lent hard into sports entertainment and has not really recovered from it. Bismo says, thanks again, Tom. We're going to wrap that up. We're going to say a massive thank you to all of you, and we're going to say that I will see you on Sunday for WTF Wrestling, and of course on Monday for more spoiler warning. Until then, I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.